Thank you for coming to Microsoft Ignite. Thank you coming to this session, the opener for the security track of Ignite 2019. I'm Rob Lefferts. I'm the Corporate Vice President for Microsoft 365 Security. I've actually been honored to be able to give a talk like this about our overall security approach for the past several years at Ignite. And I'd like to say that I am especially glad to be here this year because it really caps off a year of investment and accomplishment, and the drumbeat of innovation keeps coming. I'm very honored to be here with Steve Dispenza from the Azure security team, and together we're going to tell you an end-to-end story about security at Microsoft. We want to make three things really clear. The first is to build on the pillars that you may have heard from the security, compliance, and identity tech keynote this morning. Talk about how that strategy plays through in security. Second, we really want to make sure that you hear the great news that we've got at Ignite about all of the innovation that I just mentioned. And then third, there's a practical element. We want to lay out how do all of these pieces fit together? What does the big picture look like? And how can you understand as new technology becomes available, where does it fit in? And this story really starts off with complexity. That's not only because of all the kinds of devices, but also because of the expectations of users to be more dynamic and more mobile, because of the additional apps and services in the modern workplace. This not only represents increased surface area for attackers, it is increased complexity for defenders. And today we're going to talk about how we help defenders manage that complexity and the tools that we can deliver to help them be more effective in a world in which talent is hard to find, and again, attackers are coming ever more quickly. It's about built-in sensors, technology, and assistance. It's about AI and automation to really assist those defenders and make sure that they are making smarter decisions more quickly and more effectively. And it's about integrated tools that help lower the burden and overhead for them in everything that they do. Sometimes when I talk to customers, I get a piece of feedback that sounds a little bit like, yeah, we think Microsoft does a great job of securing their own stuff. And if you walk away with one thing, it is that Microsoft cares about customers' entire estates. We are here to help them with the whole complexity across cloud, across platform and OS, and cross-application. It starts with what I'll call the brain in the cloud. Shown here, this is the representation of the intelligent security graph. And it is amazing the growth that we have seen around signals and insights coming into the graph. Over 8 trillion signals entered every day into this repository for us to build insight. That's more than doubled since last year, where I was talking at this same session. And that really drives this notion that we can do more, because in a world of cloud computing, where we have access to elastic compute and this enhanced signal and better machine learning, we can really deliver that improved insight that I was just talking about. But one thing I want to make very clear, it is not just about these machines, it is very much about the people. And there's two kinds of people I want to focus on. The first, defenders. The people on the front lines every day that really need tools that help them and don't just try to magically fix everything. The second is these intelligent people that Microsoft brings to bear, our own Microsoft threat experts that provide their unique perspective, the 3,500 security professionals that track nation-state attackers, that reverse engineer malware, that block and prevent phishing campaigns, that monitor our own global networks, and that are working hard every day to make sure that that insight comes through the brain in the cloud, the intelligent security graph, which is the force multiplier for everything that they do. So let's take a look at what that looks like. We'll start with Microsoft threat experts. And last spring at RSA, we announced this idea of having a backstop from our security researchers that would help your teams notice things that they might have missed and deliver targeted attack notifications with a full rundown of what happened and what they should do about it. Now we have GA'd experts on demand. And so you can actually ask questions of those same researchers about anomalous things you might see in your environment, configuration you might not understand, or strategy about what you should go do next. They're accessible directly from within the portal shown here in Microsoft Defender Security Center. With all of that intelligence, we have two things that we want to go do on your behalf. The first of them is honestly something that I think doesn't get enough attention in the security press today. It's about prevention. This is the hard, sometimes long, grunt work of improving hygiene, of improving the posture of companies so that the attack really doesn't work. My favorite kind of attack is the one that didn't work to begin with because your environment was already configured ahead of time, so the vulnerability was patched, so the configuration was gone. Let's see, it's been about 6 minutes. I'm in a security talk. I haven't said WannaCry yet. So let's start it off and start about talking about that because it's a better result for the organization if when WannaCry hits, they're already patched, SMB is already turned off. I'll talk about prevention starting with the things that we build in the operating system. We recently announced Secured Core PCs, which is the best possible configuration of Windows 10 shipped by OEMs, connected directly into the hardware so that all of the capabilities we provide protect you against the most kind of advanced attacks, including firmware attacks, including attempts to inject into the device. This is the most secure way you can work every day, and I will tell you that I personally carry one of these and find it makes me feel a lot safer because I understand the technology built in here. That's at the OS level. In addition, I'm pleased to announce, now in limited preview, enhanced protection at the application level. And this is actually built on that same hardware-rooted level of trust I was talking about before, Application Guard for Office. We've already got Windows Defender Application Guard that protects browsing sessions in Edge, and now we're extending that to also protect sessions in Office. And let me describe a story of how this works. I get an email, it has, let's say, an Excel spreadsheet in it, sent from a clever attacker, and so it tricks me into wanting to open that spreadsheet and run the macros. Okay? Now you, as security professionals, know, oh, those macros might go out to the internet and download more malicious code. They might install that on the device. It might then go ahead and run that. And now I'm infected, and maybe they're going to install remote device control, and maybe they're going to move laterally through my network. It's a terrible situation to be in. Imagine a world in which that doesn't work because it happens all inside of a container, essentially a micro VM, where Office is running, so nothing bad happens to the device. The attacker is effectively prevented because everything gets thrown away when the session closes inside of Excel or other Office applications. Those are the things that we're building in. In addition, we are looking to help organizations understand the things that they need to do in their environment in order to make sure that they get more and more secure. This is Microsoft Secure Score. We started talking about it last year, and we've made great progress there. The first thing that I'm most proud of is to show the 5 pillars of your entire estate coming together in identity, data, devices, applications, and infrastructure. And so this is a comprehensive view across your Azure estate, across what's going on in Azure Active Directory, what's happening in Office 365, what lives on your device. This is in preview, and you can check it out now. The things that it gives you are real help with that endless to-do list. Because let's face it, the hygiene is endless. And so many times when I talk to customers, I find that they are focused on the last attack or the last thing that they read in the news and not the most impactful thing they could do to protect their environment overall. Here we have effectively an inside-out view of what's going on across your entire estate, a quantified number you can use to talk to the rest of the company about the improvements that you're making, and an organized to-do list of what are the most important things that you need to go do next. And I think it already came up twice in the security keynote, but just as a public service announcement, and because I don't think we can say it enough times, top on the list for so many companies, turn on MFA as the best way to block those simple social engineering attacks coming into your organizations. SecureScore, as I mentioned, also extends into Azure. So Steve will go into this in a lot more detail, but what I did was I clicked on the infrastructure pillar and it took me here to a consistent view that shows me what's my score for my cloud footprint, and again, what are the most important things for me to go do next. So that's prevention, and as I said, I'm very pleased that we can provide this focus to help companies of all sizes improve their posture. But now let's talk about active protection. They work together, but this is the place where attacks inevitably will happen. Hopefully, we can address a whole slew of those automatically. The simplest examples are AV and next-gen protection running on the device, quarantining malware, noticing anomalous behaviors and blocking them. It could be the email system, preventing that nasty phishing email from getting through, because if it doesn't land in a user's inbox, then they won't be tempted to click on it. But it also, of course, extends into the world of advanced threats, where a full range of protect, detect, and respond needs to be available. And we provide that across 4 key pillars, the security workloads of how we protect your entire modern workplace. We'll start off looking at endpoints, the devices where the code actually runs and that are so often the target of advanced attacks. Microsoft Defender Advanced Threat Protection has been making incredible strides in this full range of capabilities and how we can protect the devices across your estate. That combines next-gen protection and endpoint detection and response. One of the things that I'm most pleased of, actually this was mentioned in the security keynote, is the recognition that we've actually been getting with Defender Advanced Threat Protection over the past year. Not only in third-party evaluations, but also in analyst report. And being recognized as a leader in a quadrant or a wave, it makes me feel great because it is a true reflection of what those analysts hear from customers and the value that you are getting from using these products. The second thing I'll share is actually something that happened in this very session last year, where I gave a full talk about the direction that we were going. And at the end of the session, someone from the very back came up to me and showed me their laptop, where during my session, they had gotten an alert. And there was a breach in progress. And they actually were able to automatically remediate it by taking advantage of Defender ATP while they were in my talk. And I know they felt great, but I felt great because that kind of ability to help and really make a difference is why we're here. Last spring at RSA, we renamed Windows Defender to Microsoft Defender Advanced Threat Protection. And we did that because we were releasing the preview of Defender for Mac. And since then, we have GA'd next-gen protection. So as you see here, on a Macintosh, of course, being a security guy, I installed some nasty Trojan ransomware and ran it because that's what I do for a living. It got blocked. An alert notification popped up. The most important thing is that that actually connected into the console so that the SecOps team had a full view of what happened on this device that included the alert process tree, a teardown of the file, and everything that we know about that attack, and allowed me to do exactly the kinds of things I would do on my Windows estate. So today, I'm here to give you a little bit of a sneak peek about something that will be coming next year and the direction that we are taking Microsoft Defender. Linux servers. What you're actually looking at is Microsoft Defender running on a Linux server, using command line, of course, because it's a server. So we can see that it's there, it's enabled, it's talking to the cloud. Again, being a security guy, let's find some new cool Linux malware, let's download it, let's try to install it. And the operation is not permitted. And if you query MDATP, what you actually see is status quarantined, which is telling you that this was blocked on the server because it's not allowed. And again, communicating to Microsoft Defender ATP in the cloud, I can see the alerts, I can drill in and get more information about exactly what happened and see a rich alert page. And I can also then connect back to the device where I will see a full report of everything going on this server. And as you would expect and hope, it's of course a Linux device. Stay tuned for more news on that in the next year. Thank you. So that's endpoint. The next key workload around security is for identity. And I want to thank you all for being here, because it means that you're not seeing the session that Joy Chick is giving right now about identity. I will take a moment to encourage you to watch it live stream. There are a few things that I want to connect together to show how these pictures relate. The first is the amazing work we do to detect identity attacks across Azure Active Directory identity protection and with Azure ATP, looking at user behaviors and forming a true UEBA to watch for anomalous things like, that finance person really shouldn't have been trying to log into the domain controller. The second thing, and this is even more important, is about conditional access, forming the backbone of how we tie our systems and protections together for zero trust networking. Everything that you heard, if you saw the tech keynote this morning, about ZTN also applies to our security tools. They are aware and sharing signals back and forth with conditional access so that scenarios like, somebody just broke into this laptop, I should really block it from corporate resources while I know that someone is running Mimikatz on it to steal credentials, those scenarios are lit up, and that's the power of this suite working together. But I would like to talk about email. And first, the word email. I use this icon because it's the one the designers gave to me, and honestly, most of these social engineering attacks are still coming in through email, but of course, clever attackers will use whatever tool they can. So when we talk about social engineering through communication and collaboration, we have to think about how we protect SharePoint, how we protect Teams, and how we protect whatever communication and collaboration tool represents that next generation of technique. That's what you get with Office 365 Advanced Threat Protection. The first is protection from phishing and malware, with over 99% accuracy in just blocking these attacks and not letting them happen to begin with, because my favorite phishing attack is the one nobody got, as I said before. The second, tools for SecOps to make sure that they can really protect themselves, they can understand what happened, and that they're really prepared for automated response to those things, and finally, training your users to be prepared. So this is Campaign View, and what I'm actually showing you is how we think about the big picture on a phishing attack when it happens. What's actually, attackers evolve their attacks. It's not one email at a time. They're running experiments and constantly improving. So we give you a view that actually shows you what IP addresses were being used, what domains were being used, how did we detect this, what was the disposition in which users were being attacked, and then this ultimately connects into automated investigation and response, which queries across all of the entities, the users, the mailboxes, the devices, and helps you clean it up in an automated fashion. Campaign View is in preview, and we'll be releasing it this fall, well, later this year. And Automated Investigation Response, also in preview. Look for it now in your Office 365 tenant. The final pillar is about cloud application security, because organizations use more than just Office 365. And I'm actually going to hold this because Steve is going to show you a great demo of it in just a moment. But this all comes together under the umbrella of Microsoft Threat Protection. It's not just, let's call it 10,000 products that are all named ATP. It's actually a unified suite that works together, and I want to take a moment to show you what that looks like. So this is the MTP, Microsoft Threat Protection dashboard. You saw it earlier in the tech keynote. A couple of things that I want to call out. It actually shows you how this attack is proceeding. So we're looking at an individual incident, and we can see how it's proceeding through the entire MITRE kill chain, giving us a quick overview of where is the attacker and moving forward. Of course, it shows you 2 impacted devices, 2 impacted users, 2 impacted mailboxes, so that combined view of device identity and mail coming together in one view, and it shows you how big is the impact of this in my organization. We can see data classification confidential, so we know attackers are getting access to critical stuff. Furthermore, it's directly integrated with our next generation cloud SIEM, and Steve will be up to talk about how that flows back and forth, but we actually see data coming from Azure Sentinel that is directly relevant to this attack. So let's click in. Here's the list of investigations that were automatically kicked off. So the system is going to go clean up those devices. It's actually going to go scrub those mailboxes. But because of a corporate policy, we want to review the impact to users before we change their current status. And here is again that automated investigation flow showing how we scan all of the entities across the entire estate. And when I click into users, I see 5 users were there, but they were already determined to be clean and not actually compromised, so I'll leave them alone. But 2 of them are malicious, and that's exactly what I now need to go and approve. So I'll do that. Great. Jonathan Walcott, who, if you've seen my talks before, he seems to get breached every single year. Jonathan Walcott is now marked as at risk inside of conditional access, and the next time he tries to use anything, he'll be asked to reset his password. But the important thing is that we could figure out what happened here. So let's drill into this server and go look at the security recommendations. We actually see a list of problems. This is coming from Threat and Vulnerability Management inside of Microsoft Threat Protection. A list of problems that need to get configured on this server. And we see not only are there vulnerabilities, but some of them are mapped to active exploits in the environment. That's the red bug. And one of them is mapped to an active alert in my system, in my company. So this is how the attacker got in. And I need to go fix it. So I can update this recommendation. It's actually mapped to a CVE, so I can go understand what that looks like in the broad ecosystem. And now I can continue to investigate by running an advanced hunting query that will look for other servers with this problem across my organization. This is using KQL, which actually Steve will show you also in Azure Sentinel, and it brings back a list of the impacted devices. I can click into the first of these, get the same detailed page of what's going on with that device, and the recommendation I want to focus on here is not just patching, but alternate mitigations, where I can enable Exploit Guard to mitigate this vulnerability before I might be ready to roll out the patch. And furthermore, understand how this impacts my entire organization, package it up so that it's ready for my IT organization to use, submit the request so that the server admins can go ahead and take care of rolling that out for me. And then finally, I really want to keep track of how it's progressing so I can come back and Microsoft Defender ATP will show me the progress of that mitigation rolling out across all the devices in my organization. Finally, I can come back to the dashboard and understand what risk looks like on my devices across my estate. It's really tying back together prevention and protection, and I can see what are the other tasks I need to do. Again, that organized infinite to-do list. But now I'd actually like to take a moment, so you don't have to hear it just from me. I'd like to invite up on stage the head of information security from the National Health Services in the UK, Chris Flynn. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Rob.
Handy dandy chair setup. Chris, take a moment, introduce yourself, and tell us what the estate looks like at the NHS.
So I'm Chris Flynn. I head up information security operations at NHS Digital. So our job at NHS Digital is to help the NHS secure itself from potential cyber attack. The NHS, whilst being in the top 5 largest employers in the world, is actually made up of thousands of sovereign organisations, each of which have their own buying power, their own decision making, and are effectively their own small to medium enterprise.
So what are the big challenges that you see in dealing with the NHS?
So I think it boils down to 3. You've got scale. So across the NHS, we've got 1.35 million employees. We've got knocking on the door about 27,000 different organisations, all of which we're trying to drive good practice. You've got complexity. So not only do we have a huge estate, we've got huge variations in the infrastructure, in the architecture. in hardware, software, name a version of any software and it will be out there somewhere.
Yep.
And then finally, transparency. So with each organisation, if we take the big NHS trusts, of which there are about 225, from the centre, we can only see up to what you would class as the classic boundary. We can't see down, or we couldn't see down previously, to device or user level to help us drive any sort of consistency or improvement across the wider estate.
Yeah, that makes it a huge challenge to actually secure it.
Yes,
So-
you can't secure what you can't see.
So tell me a little bit about the partnership with Microsoft.
So we have worked hand in hand with Microsoft to drive through adoption of ATP alongside Windows 10. I think that the key thing that Windows ATP or Microsoft ATP has given us is that visibility.
There's a quarter jar every time you say Windows.
The swear jar's fuller. So I think the key thing that it's given us is that transparency right down to user level. One of the key pieces of work that we've done together is really driving through role-based access of ATP. So actually we can have a look at a global level at what's going on. But each and every organisation has their own visibility of their own instance, and they can manage that just as any other small to medium enterprise would do. I think that is absolutely one of the key things, and it's one of our core approaches to anything we do moving forward, that we want to give local organisations the responsibility and really make sure that they're clear that they own the risk and they own the outcome, whilst being able to have that visibility at a global level so we can support them and handhold wherever possible.
That's truly great, and we've really appreciated the partnership. Could you do me a favor and explain what that is?
Yeah, indeed. So these were our rather hedonistic celebrations in recent weeks where we've managed to deploy ATP across 1 million unique users across the NHS.
That's impressive scale.
Worth a cookie or two.
We love to see this. All right, last comment. What do you think comes next for the NHS?
It's really important that actually we haven't bought a product. We are in a partnership and we work
Absolutely.
hand in hand. We work so closely with the ATP team, making sure that the microcosm of the NHS, of its 1.35 million users, is really driving improvements for us with the ATP product, but also that the rest of the customer group for ATP can take advantage of that. So I don't know what's next, if I'm being honest, but I know that as long as we're continuing to work really closely in partnership, then only good things will come.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Chris.
Cheers,
Great
Rob.
to have
Absolute
you here.
pleasure.
Now I'd like to invite up on stage Steve Dispenza so we can talk about how protecting modern workplace in M365 fits together with cloud security and your next generation SIM. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Rob. Hey, everybody, how are you? So, Chris, great story. Thanks so much for coming all the way here and sharing it with us live. So, Rob has taken us through what the Microsoft threat protection solutions are. And now I'm going to talk about how we're going to use the same prevent and protect methodology and apply it to your cross-cloud infrastructure for both your apps and your infrastructure. So we think of cloud security in three parts. We think about it first in terms of secure posture management, getting a comprehensive view of the status of your infrastructure. In workload protection that's natively built into the platform. And finally, in application security, which is where I'm going to start. So a cloud access security broker is now kind of a standard part of any modern cloud security strategy. And Microsoft Cloud App Security is the world's most adopted CASB. When we talk to large organizations, we hear about hundreds or even thousands of applications that are in use by the average enterprise, by your users. And that creates a lot of complexity And scarier still is the fact that about half of those applications are typically completely unmanaged by IT. So IT has no visibility and no policy control over a huge number of these applications. And so Cloud App Security can help you with this problem by discovering all of this shadow IT that's happening in your organization and helping you bring these applications under management so that you can apply that consistent set of policies to all of your apps. Now, we've talked about our support for AWS before, and at Ignite here this week, I'm pleased to announce that we're adding support for the Google Cloud as well. So now you can get a consistent view of your entire multi-cloud infrastructure, including consistent user behavioral analytics and consistent threat protection across clouds. In addition to that, we've had asks for years to apply these same cloud app security protections, not just to our featured apps, but to every application in your enterprise. And so we've recently released the ability to do just that. You can now apply cloud app security to any application in your enterprise, any AD-connected application. Now you can apply the same policy to. I'm going to show you how that works. So we start here in the Cloud App Security portal, and you can see we've started to see a lot of a new application here, Quip, in use by employees in the enterprise. And we want to bring that application under management and apply our policies to it. So the way we do it is actually quite straightforward. We connect this app to Azure AD, and we create a conditional access policy for the app. Now, once that's done, an administrator simply navigates to the app and follows a step-by-step process to onboard the application into Cloud App Security. Now, once the app is onboarded, it's a simple matter of editing the app and checking the box to enable protections for all of your users in your enterprise. Now, I showed Quip here as one example, but again, remember, this works for any app in your enterprise, even custom applications that you've built yourself. Another theme of the whole conference here is how we're bringing our security products together and integrating them more and more tightly so that we can share signal and create the best possible user experiences. One example is that we've brought together Cloud App Security with Defender ATP in order to bring the power of Cloud App Security directly into the endpoint by building these controls right into Windows. So now you can get the best possible experience for your end users. It's a simpler setup and administration, no extra latency, and as you can see here, it's a simple one click to enable this in the MCAS portal. If you do have a user who tries to navigate to an app that's been blocked, now Windows will block it directly in the endpoint. And of course, we also have Windows right there to help the user navigate through the policy application. So we've now brought application discovery and blocking directly into Windows, and this is just the beginning. Over time, we're going to bring all of the CASB functionality directly into the Windows endpoint. Azure Security Center is our infrastructure security solution that allows us to both apply prevention and protection to your cloud infrastructure. It starts by giving you a good view of everything in your digital estate so that you can ensure that your estate is properly configured with security policies. And this works not just for Azure, but for your cross-cloud assets, as well as your on-premises servers as well. So you can get a complete integrated view of your security policies and posture all in one place. And that's all rolled up into the same secure score that Rob mentioned earlier. In addition to that, ASC protects your cloud infrastructure through dozens or hundreds of built-in protections and detections that are built right into the platform. There are far too many for me to go through them, and we've got a bunch of new ones that we're going to be talking about here this week at Ignite. I do want to talk about two things, though, that we're announcing here that are new and cool. The first one is you heard Rob talk earlier about vulnerability assessment built right into MTP. we are also bringing a complete and comprehensive vulnerability assessment solution powered by Qualys directly into ASC. And so all of these recommendations and findings are integrated directly into the ASC portal. In addition, we are announcing a bunch of new threat protections, one of which I think is pretty cool, is we're announcing native support for Azure containers, so that we can now scan and protect containers as they're brought into the Azure Container Registry. Again, let me show you how that works. So here's the Azure Security Center overview screen, and we're going to drill into recommendations. And if you have very sharp eyes, you can see about halfway down the recommendations list is a recommendation around vulnerabilities in Azure Container Registry images that should be remediated. So if I click on that to drill in, I can now see a list of images with known vulnerabilities in them. And if I highlight one, I can see the entire list of vulnerabilities in that image. Drilling in here on the top one, this is a Debian security update for systemd. We can see the same kind of information we talked about earlier. A link to the CVE. You can see the date that it was published to get a sense for how old it is. And most importantly, we can see the severity level so that you can prioritize your remediation work within your engineering team. All right, so in addition to Microsoft Threat Protection and our comprehensive cloud security approach, most security operations teams use a SIEM in order to get an end-to-end view of all of the security data in your enterprise. The problem is that traditional SIEM technologies are having a really hard time keeping up with the rate of change that's being driven by digital transformation. I talk to customers every day about challenges with their SIEMs, and several themes pop out. One is a phenomenon that we call alert fatigue. So the idea here is that most organizations are getting flooded with thousands of alerts from dozens of different products that are in use in their SOCs. And it's really difficult to detect the signal with all that noise. One customer I talked to recently told me they see an average of 26,000 alerts a day, and they're only able to triage less than half of those alerts. So this is a real pain point. The second thing that comes up in basically every conversation about the SIEM is cost and complexity. Again, digital transformation is driving an exponential increase in the amount of data that's being generated, and traditional on-prem SIEMs are having a hard time keeping up. The final thing that I hear often is about the security skills shortage. So one stat has it that by 2022, there will be 3.5 million unfilled security jobs around the world. Just an incredible number. But honestly, even if you could hire all of those people to keep up, you can't keep up with an exponential growth curve just by hiring people. So, with that in mind, about 6 months ago, we took the wraps off of Azure Sentinel, which is our cloud-native next-generation SIEM built directly into and on Azure. Sentinel was designed to provide instant value to SecOps teams by including hundreds of off-the-shelf queries, analytics, notebooks, playbooks, and more. And we've brought Microsoft Cloud data into Sentinel for free for certain data like Office 365 activity logs, Azure activity logs, and of course, Microsoft Threat Protection alerts. We also brought the power of Azure's cloud scale to address the rising amount of data. So with this, we built Sentinel directly into Azure, reusing tried and true building blocks all across the platform. And now we're seeing Sentinel ingesting over 2 petabytes a month of customer traffic from over 12,000 customers that have tried Sentinel since we declared the preview. The last piece. The last piece is AI. We built Sentinel from the beginning with AI infused throughout the system. Of course, that is threat detection. But in addition to that, think about applying AI to guided hunting, guided investigation, and even AI-driven automated remediation workflows. In addition, we built Sentinel from the very beginning to be community-oriented and extensible. So at every place along the path, you can do things like adding queries, community-powered playbooks, detections, and so on that you can remix and reuse. And in addition, we've built in Microsoft's security expertise that we've gained from years of defending the Microsoft cloud against attacks. Okay, so I hope a lot of you got a chance to see Sarah demo Sentinel this morning during the technical keynote. I'm going to pick up where she left off and go in a little more depth here. So again, back on the Azure Sentinel overview page, we can see 803 million alerts that have flowed in over the last 24 hours from a whole array of data sources. So the first thing I want to talk about is data connectors, because Sentinel was designed to connect to all of your enterprise data, not just the Microsoft cloud data. Third-party cloud data, all of your on-premises data, and so on. We've shipped a number of off-the-shelf connectors, and if you scroll down the list, you'll see new connectors from F5, Barracuda, Extra Hop Networks. This one, Zscaler, already connected here, and you can see that the data is already flowing. With each connector, we ship an off-the-shelf workbook that you can use to get instant value from your data, kind of a visualization or a bird's eye view of the data that's flowing in. Once you have all this data connected, the next step is generally hunting over this data. And so again, Sentinel ships a large number of off-the-shelf hunting queries written by Microsoft's threat experts that you can use either as is, or you can use them as a off point for your own investigations. I'm going to pick the top hunting query here, and we're going to hunt through some of that Zscaler data that I talked about. So again, this is the same KQL query language that Rob talked about a minute ago. And this is the standard query language that's used across Azure for log analytics data, so your team may already be familiar with it. You can either edit this query in place or run it as it is. I've run it, and you can see here a suspicious log entry from that Zscaler data. Now, hunts normally take a lot of time, and so at Ignite here, we're introducing the ability to create a bookmark of your hunt so that you can come back to your work in progress later on. We can also take the same query and create a live stream from it, so that as new events flow into the SIM, if they match the query, the analyst is alerted in real time, right in the user interface. We've built deep integration with Jupyter notebooks for hunting. These are some of the best power tools that our team uses to hunt through our data. If you haven't used Jupyter before, go check it out. We're going to be running sessions at the booth where we're demonstrating this all week. For Ignite here, we're announcing the ability to directly clone these workbooks off of GitHub and directly deploy them to Azure Notebooks connected to your data, so you can use all of the visualizations and analytics that you want to hunt through your data. Sentinel ships hundreds of off-the-shelf analytics from queries and detections to AI-powered threat detections. And of course, like I said, you can bring your own. But where most analysts will start their day is in a prioritized list of incidents that need to be investigated. This incident was created by Sentinel by correlating two different low-level alerts by IP address into one high-severity incident that we're going to investigate. So one of our distinguished engineers at Microsoft, a guy by the name of John Lambert, is fond of observing that defenders think in lists, but attackers think in graphs. And so we took his word for it, and both in MTP and in Azure Sentinel, we're building graph-based investigation experiences. Here we can see the two alerts that Sentinel correlated together by IP address. And if I click on the network traffic alert, I can see, yeah, this is a user who reached out to a known shady IP address that we had from our threat intelligence. You can see that on its own, this was scored as a low-severity alert, but correlated with a similar alert from Defender ATP, where the endpoint was running sketchy-looking PowerShell. Now, all of a sudden, we have something to worry about. So we're going to investigate this endpoint. And here we can see all sorts of data, like process data, network data, and more. I'm going to click on Related Alerts, though, and we can see a whole set of new alerts from Microsoft Threat Protection. And these are higher severity. So now I'm pretty sure we have something to worry about here. To try to really get our arms around it, I'm going to click on the timeline view. And so what this does is it takes the data from the investigation screen and it plots it chronologically so that you can see the phases of the attack. So here you can see the initial foothold on the system. There's a lateral movement in the middle there. And at the end, you can see that the attacker has set up data exfiltration through a suspicious inbox forwarding rule. So now we've seen enough. We know there's something in progress. And now we want to take immediate action to stop the attack in progress. So for that, we're going to run a playbook. Now, again, Azure Sentinel ships off the shelf with dozens of playbooks. They're all public on our GitHub repository. And you can either use them as they are or remix them or bring your own. I'm going to pick one here, which is Block IP and Notify IT. And I'm going to click into Logic Apps Designer. This is another place where we're using standard Azure building blocks. In this case, Logic Apps is Azure's standard low-code or no-code automation solution that you can use to write playbooks. This playbook starts by collecting some data, blocking the attacking IP address in Zscaler, blocking the IP address in Microsoft 365, and sending an email to the IT department to say what happened. So we've taken action. Now, at this point, we can really deeply investigate to figure out, what really happened. How did this happen? And for that, we're going to click into MTP and dive deep on the endpoint. Now, for the sharp-eyed among you, you'll recognize this as the same screen that Rob started his demo on. So this is where we will leave off. OK, so now the whole picture is kind of coming together. You see the Microsoft Threat Protection products. You see the cloud security products. And you see Azure Sentinel as the cloud SIEM writing across and correlating all of this data. But there's one more thing that I want to add, which is partners and ecosystem. So we know Microsoft is not the only vendor in your enterprise, and we're not even the only security vendor in your enterprise. And so we built all of these security products with the philosophy in mind of integrating directly into your environment and fitting into your processes so that you can get value directly in your environment. The Microsoft Intelligent Security Association is an industry association in which we collaborate all across the industry with dozens of different security vendors because we believe that sometimes in security it's valuable to have more than one perspective about your data. But historically, there's been difficulty sharing data across products. And so to combat that, the MISA Association members work together to exchange signal and integrate products so that you get the best experience as an investigator. OK, I'm going to invite Rob back up on stage here.
Sprint?
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Thank you very much for your time. We wanted to leave you with 3 key actions. These are a little bit different from what you've heard before because they aren't about how do I protect your environment. It's about how do you learn more about what we've got. First, again and always, go check Microsoft Secure Score. That will lead you to understanding how to protect your entire estate. Second, Microsoft Threat Protection to bring together identity, email, endpoints, and SaaS apps all into one solution for protecting your environment.
And last but not least, we'd love you to go try out Sentinel. You can get direct value by connecting your existing Office activities directly into Sentinel. Start using it and let us know what you think.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your week and enjoy all the other sessions we've got for you.
Thanks, everybody.